Good afternoon, everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about how to replace the ball joint, which is this part which fractures on the 997 convertible, probably 996 as well. All the convertibles have this little ball joint, but I'm going to be talking about, it's going to be a very generic talk, and hopefully I'll be able to give you the information as quickly as possible for this. So the first thing to note is why these things fracture. They fracture because they're designed to fracture. They're a plastic sacrificial portion which will snap in order to preserve much more important expensive components such as the rods that they're connected to. The next thing also to bear in mind is that you can get these in metal components as well, but if you get them in metal components, then they will not fracture and you'll damage much more valuable parts on your car. So how do we get into it? Well, you can see the position I put the hood into, and then you go into over here and you look down into the sections here, and you can see, I'm going to put this a bit down just now, you can see that where the rod has snapped off. Okay, there's it still attached to the ball. We'll need to remove that, as simple as that. The rod is down under here, and you'll need to get hold of that because that is where the other component will be attached to. Now this is screwed on. It doesn't screw all the way down. It's screwed on through X amount of turns, and you want to count those. So count off the number of threads that you remove and write it down because you will forget. And as you can see, it's 14 threads altogether. So we're going to turn this one 14 times round and face it in the direction so it's able to clip on. Okay, and that's where I got to just now. Now let's go with that just now. I'll give a little talk about why these things fracture as well. The reason why they often fracture is because although the Porsche can be, the roof can be put up and down whilst the car is moving, you don't want to be doing that because it creates a lateral and up-down movement, and that puts stresses on that plastic ball joint. So when you're doing that, when you're opening and closing the roof, you want to have one smooth motion all the way down and all the way up, no stopping and starting halfway through, and that means not opening the roofs at traffic lights, etc., and driving off with the roof partially closed or open. Okay, so that's the reason why they fracture. So the next part I'm going to do is going to put that thread on 14 turns. Things to remember: when you're flicking off that little ball joint, it comes off really easily. So what I used was just a little plastic, you don't need to use a screwdriver, a little plastic trim remover will pop it out. Stuff a bunch of cloths underneath it to catch it, and it will stop it from potentially going into the drain hole. And once you're also there, remember to look at the video on how to keep these drain holes nice and clean. As you can see, this has got water in it, and I think there's 6 on this one at the back, 4 at the front. I'm going to have to look at my own video to confirm. But anyway, that's it off, and the next thing we need to do is to thread on this little thing on 14 times and fit it on. If I have any difficulty fitting this on, I'm just going to put a little bit of, where is it? I'm going to put a little bit of silicone grease on there, just try and pop it on. I'm not too keen on it. It looks as it's got a little bit of give on it because of those little space on the plastic, so it should just pop on quite easily. But if I need to, I'll put a wee bit of silicone. I'll let you know how it goes on, okay? 14 turns, and you can see I've managed to lift this shroud at the back up to position the plastic right up against it. Now all I need to do is push it. There is a little bit of resistance. I've decided not to actually use the silicone grease. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this bit of rag here to protect this metalwork, and I'm going to use this long stick just to get some leverage and just push it in by leaning it across there and pushing it against it, and you can see where it's going to lean against the bodywork. So you're going to protect that bodywork with that bit of rag there, okay, and I'll clip it in that way. I'll tell you how much force it requires so you know exactly. That little bit of flexible stick was absolutely perfect. It required very little force to pop that on, but as you can see, it's now located on, and ideally I would replace both at the same time, but this one, the other one seems fine. It will eventually break, and if it does break, I will then replace that one. But It's a fairly simple procedure to do. It might be worthwhile actually keeping one of these stashed away somewhere, but always go for the plastic ones. So remember, don't open and close your roofs halfway. Don't open and close your roofs when you're moving. Try and not open your roofs in high winds, etc., because that's going to put the stresses right on this. I hope this has been useful for you. I really do.